It's your boy, J.I. King Hefner, and the beautiful Saima Renee Uzumaki. And we're back again for another show. And today, we're doing a movie review of the Stepford Wives, 1975. And we'll get to that right about now. Hey guys, I'm back again with the beautiful Saima Renee, and today we're doing a movie review of the Stepford Wives, 1975. And the first thing I want to say about this movie is, it is classified as a sci-fi horror film. It is not a comedy like the 2004 version. So there will be something of note when I wrap my review up. So remember that. So basically this movie starts with your average family, a husband, wife, and 2 kids. They end up moving their family from New York all the way to the city of Stepford, Connecticut. Upon getting there, they have a few minor quabbles, but nothing of note. They are pretty happy as far as the eye can see. As they make their way through town, shopping and doing things of that nature, they continually show the people of the town giving them very suspicious looks. And they give them looks like, hey, you guys don't know, but it's something mighty damn funny happening in this town. And what I love about older movies is, what they lack in explosions and special effects and things of that nature, they make up with facial acting. I feel like all of the older movies had better acting. And for me, this movie is right on par with the other older movies I've seen. Every man in town is a part of some men's group, and they eventually ask her husband to join the men's club. He accepts the invite, and one day he invites all of the members over his house to meet his wife. When the men's group arrives at their house, they have a meeting, and the meeting is pretty much a distraction to keep the wife's attention away from what was really happening. One of the group members was secretly drawing a picture of her, and I promise you, it was better than a damn 3D scan. It was amazing and down to the detail. I'm talking about, he drew picture after picture of every body part, and he had her down to the T. And it reminded me of exactly what I was talking about when I did the video on China's West World. And it reminds me of when they do a 3D scan so they can print out your body parts to make an android of you. Later on, the wife, whose name is Joanna, actually meets another wife who had recently moved to Stepford right before she did. And they were hitting it off like good old pals. And they ended up going to a party that all the wives and all the husbands attended. And at said party, one of the wives seemed to malfunction. She just kept going around to everybody's table saying, I need that recipe. I need that recipe. I need that recipe. And when her husband saw that, he was pissed off. He went over to her and he was like, why would you have to do this type of thing in public? So they ended up leaving the party, and the wives were freaked out like, man, what just happened? So the next day, the wife that malfunctioned came over and apologized to Joanna and the new girl whose name was Bobby. And she was saying, I'm so sorry, I ruined the party for everybody. And they was like, wait a minute, you don't have to do all that apologizing. We really didn't even notice anything. They said, who put you up to all this apologizing? And she said her husband and the men's club made her apologize. And Joanna and Bobby became very suspicious after that. Later on, Joanna, the original wife, and Bobby, the second new girl, got together and decided, you know what? We need to start a women's group since all the men have a men's group. So they started trying to recruit all the wives in the city, and nobody wanted to be a part of it until they finally came across another wife who had recently moved to Stepford. And she said, yes, I love to join the group. So they had 3 wives to join the group, and they eventually convinced all the other wives to join as well. And during their first meeting, The three new wives were expressing their emotions, talking about their situations with their husband and their families, but all the other wives would only talk about house chores, and they refused to talk about anything emotional. And it drew a red flag with all the new wives. They didn't understand what the hell was going on. Later on, Joanna and Bobby found out there used to be a women's group years before, and most of the women in the city were part of this women's group. But they got disbanded, and all of the women decided to stay home all day and just do housework. And that was fishy as hell to the girls. They decided to go visit the third newest girl, and her name was Charmaine. And when they got there, all she was doing was cleaning the house. But before, she was rebellious. All she wanted to do was play tennis and have fun, but not anymore. The only thing she was interested in was some good old dish detergent. She was ready to clean, and clean some more. And both of the other girls were freaked the hell out. When they saw their third wife, Charmaine, doing all that cleaning after she was so rebellious, it really shook Joanna and Bobby up. They was like, man, it must be something in the water making all these women do nothing but clean. So they decided to go see a scientist and let him do a sample check on the water to make sure everything was A-OK. And the scientist came back and was like, look, this water is just fine. The only thing I see is water. Both of the girls were frustrated, and Bobby, the second wife that came on the scene, said, hey, I need to go on a trip with my husband. Can you keep my kids and my dog? And so Joanna was like, yeah, cool, no problem. I'll keep them until you get back. And I tell you what, whenever she saw Bobby, after Bobby took that trip, she was doing nothing but cleaning house like all the rest of the wives in the city. And Joanna came home scared as hell. She was hitting things with her car, bumping buses, knocking mailboxes over. And when she got to the house, her husband was like, what the hell is going on? And she told him everything that happened and how Bobby wasn't acting the same and he wasn't buying it. He said, you know what? You need to go see a psychiatrist. She was like, nah, we need to move. He said, I tell you what, we'll move once you go see this psychiatrist. So that's exactly what she did. She went to see the psychiatrist. When she went to see the psychiatrist, who was a woman, she said she believes all the men in that men's club are behind everything. She said she believes that's the only reason that every wife in the city only wants to clean. She says it takes about 4 months for them to get changed out. She said after about 4 months of being in the city, that everybody changes over to just wanting to clean. And her 4 months was just about up. And the psychiatrist said, get the hell out of town and get out of there right now. So when Joanna leaves the psychiatrist, she goes home, she wants to get the kids and get the hell out of town. And when she gets there, she sees her husband. He tells her, guess what? The kids aren't here and you're not going any damn where. And they get into a physical altercation. She finally escapes the house. She runs straight to her friend Bobby's house. And she asks Bobby, have you seen my kids? Where are my kids at? And Bobby is like, I don't know what the hell you're talking about. And Joanna got so frustrated with her that she ended up stabbing Bobby. And guess what? Bobby did not bleed. Bobby did not scream. Bobby did not run. She pulled the knife out of her stomach and kept cleaning up and trying to make coffee. But the next time she tried to make coffee, she started dropping coffee cups and coffee all over the floor, and she started repeating herself. And that's when Joanna was like, I gotta get the hell out of here. And so she ran away from the house. Joanna ran back home, found her husband on the phone, and busted his damn head with a fire poker. And when he was laying on the ground, she said, where the hell are my kids? And he whispered, they're at the men's club. And so she took off to the men's club to go find her kids. And I thought it was cool to see that type of action happen in 1975. Because back in 1975, it was rare to see a woman take on an action role like that and get aggressive and clubbing a man over the head. I thought it was like the precursor to a G.I. Jane or something like that. And Will, don't beat me up. When Joanna got to the club, she was looking everywhere, but she did not find her kids. But who she did find was the leader of the men's club. And when she found him, she knew her kids were nowhere to be found. And she asked him, "Why did you guys do this to all the wives?" And he simply answered, "Because we can." And I'm not gonna lie, it was a chilling answer the way he said it. I tell you, that acting back in the day was amazing. He went on to say, "Because we found the perfect way of doing it." In other words, making robots. She had a super stunned look on her face when he said that, and he asked her again, "Wouldn't you want a young stud who would like you, whether you age or not?" She started running through the house, frantically trying to find a way out of there, and she finally made her way to this back room. And when she got to that room, the leader of the men's club just stood blocking the doorway to the room. And she looked over her shoulder and she saw the robot version of herself. It was an exact replica, but it was a little bit more busty, if you know what I'm saying. And they showed that replica approaching her with a stocking in her hand, wrapping it around both hands like she was getting ready to strangle the hell out of Joanna. And next thing you know, it faded to black. In the next scene, they showed all of the robot wives shopping at the grocery store. They were going through the women one by one, showing you every wife that you had seen during the movie. And in the end, they showed Joanna. The men's club had won. She was now fully replaced by her robot self, and she was happy doing the shopping. And so with all that said, I'm going to give my final thoughts on the Stepford Wives 1975 right about now. Hey guys, my final thoughts on the Stepford Wives 1975 is it's a pretty damn good movie. And for 1975, it was well ahead of its time. And believe me I see why they called it a horror. If you saw that movie in 1975, it would definitely send some chills up your spine. The whole notion of companion dogs as we know them didn't even exist. So the thought of being replaced by a robot was a lot more scary. It even had me in a little bit of suspense. And I'm well aware of the technologies of today. I believe that movie definitely played a part in the stigma that's around today. Much like the War of the Worlds broadcast that got everybody so frightened of aliens that took place back in the day, I believe the Stepford Wives actually played a role in the stigma that doll owners are now dealing with, where everybody is scared that the dolls may actually replace human women, just like they were talking about in the movie. But that's not the case. This is just an alternative form of dating. But that movie had everybody scared as hell, I guarantee you. And they ended up making a sequel in 2004, and it was a comedy because a lot more people knew about the whole market of companion dolls, robots, and things of that nature. So it was able to be made fun of. But back in the day, when nobody had a concept of companion dolls and robotics and things of that nature, they made it suspenseful and they made it a horror film. And believe me I guarantee you, it probably shook some people up. My final score on that movie is, I would give it about a 7 out of 10, about 4 stars out of 5. It was pretty damn good, especially for 1975. Definitely far ahead of its time. So with all that said, we really hope you guys enjoyed this movie review. But as of right now, me, Jada King Hefner, and the beautiful Saima Renee Uzumaki, we are out.